Back when I was younger, I used to think to myself, I used to think to myself, all right, it's natural that I have a biological urge for women, right? I'm horny for them, and I want to be with them forever, with one woman for the rest of my life, right? That's how it is, right? They make it seem all lovey-dovey in Disney movies, in Avatar, people, and the reason why, you know, um, a lot of relationships fail. I guess it just varies from person to person. It's not a specific thing. You know what I mean? And if I do my part, they will do their part, right? I used to think it was that easy, but unfortunately, you know, women are not like that. Women are not idealistic lovers like men. When men love women, they love them for real, love them as people, and love them in a sexual sense, like having sex with them is like the best feeling on earth. But if they also love them, there's also more to them than just getting laid, generally speaking. Depending on her matching your energy, right? You're willing to compromise, right? She doesn't have to be the best of the best. In a sense of like, the vast majority of men, if they had a girl that's a 6 out of 10, they'll be happy. They'll be okay with it. But unfortunately, most women are not like that. Most women, they're not loyal. They mate with the best. All right? If you were a man who lost his job, she will leave you for someone who has a job. Remember, statistically, most women were asked, would you rather be a peasant's wife or a king's mistress? They responded by saying a king's mistress. Remember that. Mm, of course, they like attention and validation from multiple men because, like, a woman's image is her ego. You know what I mean? If a man is attracted to her like that, she can get him to do a lot of things like for her and dangle it around like a key. Because most men would not tolerate a woman's behavior if they weren't so horny. You know what I mean? Because sex is the best feeling in the world for a man. But uh, the thing is, women don't realize that that's not what determines your value. What determines your value is you maintaining a good man's innocence since day one. Of course, society promotes them to for their bad behavior in a sense of like they don't like being held accountable. I mean, no evil person does. Like if an evil person is secretly doing evil things and evil and sadistic shit, obviously they don't like being exposed and called out for it. That's why women hate the red pill community and they want the destruction of the red pill community. But the thing is, mm, like when it comes to the red pill community, is the fact that 1 second. Anyways, the thing about the red pill community is most people in the red pill community, not all of them, the people who subscribe to people like Darius M and Myron, they're not looking to people like them because they're looking for a relationship. No, it's because they've had enough and they're giving up. And women are bullies, and watching bullies get bullied is the best feeling in the world. That's why whenever we see people like Myron clowning women or Darius M clowning women, we enjoy it, because for all the emotional abuse that we went through, and for all the trauma that women put us through, and the hell that they put us through after everything we did for them. Because the thing is, when it comes to women, under a normal circumstance, if if somebody does you wrong and you forgive them, they change a lot of the times, right? But when it comes to women in a relationship, they're not like that, unfortunately. Actually, if a woman has bad behavior and you tolerate it, the worse she gets. I wish it wasn't like that. I wish they appreciate kindness and not take it as weakness. But unfortunately, most of them are evil. Like 95% of them are evil and sadistic people. Like I wish that, how when Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, Beyonce forgave him and everything went back to normal and they're still together. The thing is, when it comes to a woman that cheats, when it comes to a woman that cheats, she's just gonna get worse and worse and worse once you forgive her. You know what I mean? She doesn't regret cheating. She regrets getting caught. If you forgive her, she's going to emasculate you. She's not gonna respect you for forgiving her. She's actually gonna get worse. Remember, Jada cheated on Will Smith, and what did Will Smith get in return? He got sold out with the smack after he smacked the dog shit out of Chris Rock, right? So the thing is, when it comes to Disney movies, like if a woman does, they give you the illusion that if a woman if a woman doesn't trust you in the beginning and makes you jump through hoops, after you jump through those hoops, you earn her and you get it. As simple as that, right? Unfortunately, it's not like that in real life. Because I promise you, they will extract and exploit you and leech off you for resources or whatever, and for resources or for sex, and then they'll leave you. It has happened to me multiple times. Alright? I have hung out with a woman for 4 months, did everything right, got her a job, got her an Uber, got her took her to food places, won her prizes. I mean, not exactly won prizes, asked people on her behalf for prizes, got the prizes, gave it to her so that she could give it to her family members. I've done it all. Protected her when we go out publicly, in the sense of since she's a 5'2" girl, I'm a big dude, so I always go whenever we went out in public. I was her backup so that she could do whatever she wants whenever she wants. For the last 4 months, but she was saying at first, look, what happened was, at first she said maybe when I asked her out, and then I waited another month giving her money consecutively, and then I was like, all right, I'm here for you, I proved myself, right? What's your answer now? Because you said maybe last time, how about now? I proved myself, it's been a month now. And then she's like, no. See? Which shows that she was using me for attention and validation the entire time. And the fact that she had a boyfriend the entire time makes it even worse, because you're not supposed to be hanging out with somebody overly when you have a boyfriend, right? But oh well, it's not that easy. When it comes to life, the harder you work for it, the closer your relationship is with that thing. When it comes to God, when it comes to sports, when it comes to shit that actually matter, like your goals, right? If you work hard for it, the more progress you make, right? But when it comes to women, women are not like that. If they don't like you since the beginning, if they don't make you jump through hoops, then they don't like you. You're just gonna make things worse and worse and worse. She's just gonna leech off you with no remorse. Because remember, women are the biggest scammers, manipulators, and liars in the world. So be careful. Because I have seen a woman, she's like a year older than me back in the day. I have seen her, when it comes to when she was with one guy, she was the first time she saw him, she's like, I don't know you like that, you know? We're just acquaintances. We're not friends yet. And she was making him jump through all these hoops. You know what I mean? Making it like she was saying, and you know, making him jump through all these hoops. And then eventually, you know, she became rude to him. She became bitchy towards him, and then she left. After he followed all the rules, she just used and abused him. This same woman, I have seen her when it comes to a man who is the most attractive man she's ever seen in her life. She didn't make any rules for him. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He came up to her. I mean, he didn't come up to her actually. She was waiting. She was fantasizing about him approaching her. She was simping for him in the most obsessive way I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? So, that show, like, obviously I'm not going to disclose her name, but this person proved that women make rules for betas and they break them for someone who they consider alpha. Remember that. Alright? You don't have to prove anything to a female. She has to prove herself to you. Because the statistics says it all. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. 76% of the reason why is because they're not the man hasn't been able to please them sexually, and because they've been ran through, and the average body count of a woman is 5, and only 5% of women are virgins on their wedding day. Because of this, they that's why they leave. Alright, 76% is ridiculous. And because of this, getting married is completely useless for a man. Even though women are the most narcissistic people ever. They're acting so entitled. They're like, I want a man to be this, that. But when you ask them what do you bring to a man's life, they either say the bare minimum or they don't say anything useful. Right? Remember, a woman's value is determined by her maintaining a good man's innocence since day one. Because they can get a man anytime they want to. Alright? They can hook up with 20 dudes in a week if they wanted to. A man cannot do that. Remember that. A man cannot tell the difference between the sheep and wolf's clothing either. So he shouldn't even bother trying in the first place. Because there's a 99.9% chance that she'll reject you. Like, it's literally pointless. Like, if a plane had a 99.9% chance of crashing and a 0.001% chance of landing, like, would you go to it? There's no point. You're gonna die, right? It's just suicide, right? It's just the humiliation ritual, right? So she has to chase you, not her. Because remember this. A man's value is determined by him watching his guard against an evil woman. Remember that. I used to think to myself, I don't think you should chase them in general. I think you should just focus on yourself and stay single. I think you'll be a lot happier that way. But a man's value is determined by him maintaining a man's value is determined by him watching his guard against an evil woman. Because remember, the most influential men on earth, they were never married. Paul was never married. Isaac Newton was never married. And Daniel was never married either. But they're the most disciplined, consistent people, right? Why? Because they chose to focus more on their goals and God more than a woman. Right? Because the moment you choose a woman over your goals and God, you lose all of them. And when you lose all of them, you will end up in a fucked up situation. Look at Samson, for instance. He idealistically got attached to his lust and to women being promiscuous over his purpose with God. Because remember, God told him, annihilate all the Philistines, which he eventually did, for the most part. But he had to learn the hardest way a person can possibly learn. Because he chose a woman over his goal. Because he chose the woman who was ideal in his eyes over his goals. Remember, you cannot control a woman. You can only control yourself. Everybody wants to be with one woman who's their ideal, right? Just like Samson. But we don't always get what we want in life, right? So because of this, you have to focus on God and your goals. Because God and your goals are more important than a woman ever will be. Right? That is just a desire. That is just an addiction. But only Jesus and your goals and your consistency and discipline will truly give you peace. Not you giving your all to a woman who is 9 times out of 10 a manipulator and a liar anyway. Remember that. And another thing is, the greatest women in the Bible, they were all married. Every single one of them. Because they maintained a good man's innocence with integrity. Right? And because, of course, the man had all the cards. But from a relationship perspective, what I mean is, a woman's value is determined by her maintaining a good man's innocence since day one. Because the difference between most men and most women in the beginning, before their innocence is ruined, they prioritize women a lot. In a sense of like, they love them like more than a lot of things at the moment, and they're willing to do a lot for them. In the beginning, they do a lot. Like when I say a lot, like a lot, like men love them for real. But a woman, when it comes to a relationship, they make a relationship their last priority. Like they would trade anything over a relationship, generally speaking, right? That's why women see relationships as burdens. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but because women like attention and validation from multiple men. And if, she's focused on you and with you, she has to cut all of them off and focus on only you. And women see that as a burden. Remember this. And because of this, since they, and because, they see a relationship as their last priority, how she treats her partner shows what kind of person she truly is. You know what I mean? Like, because Jesus said, whoever does something wrong to even the least of my brethren, he has done, like, whoever has transgressed even the least of my brethren, he's transgressed me. Right? Is what they see. Because let's be honest, most women, they have professionalism when it comes to their children. They have professionalism when it comes to their bosses. They have professionalism when it comes to their brothers, most of the time, right? And their friends most of the time. But when it comes to a relationship, like, it's their last priority. And because of this, it shows what kind of person she truly is on how she treats her partner. If she leaves him over stupid shit, it shows she's a narcissist. Right? Exactly. But when it comes to a man who, let's say, prioritizes a woman that is a sheep in wolf's clothing. Without him realizing it. That person is the most inevitable to be destroyed. Because 99% of men that I know, like, not 99, my bad. Like, men now, because women are not trustworthy. If you look at even the people with the most successful relationships, 99% of them, the men that I know, they don't even trust women. Alright? They don't trust women. And especially in nowadays, in the West, you should not trust a woman. Alright? Like, I say don't get married in general, because if you get married in America, you're retarded. And if you do get married, get a prenup. Get a paternity test. And if she disagrees to that, she can go fuck herself. Move on to the next person. I say don't get married in general, because women are annoying, and when you are around people who complain too much, who complain about everything, misery loves company, so I think like you'll be a lot happier without them. But if you ever end up in a situation like, and most of them are completely useless, but if you ever end up in a situation like that, get a paternity test, get a prenup, and make sure you have all the cards. Because remember, the most successful marriages in the Bible are with men who have all the cards. Like, let's be honest. When it comes to, let's say, Joseph, for instance. Joseph, the reason his marriage with Asenath is successful is because Joseph was, number one, he was the governor of Egypt. Number two, he can predict the future. Number three, he's completely honest. Number four, he's a good-looking man. The best-looking man in the world at the time. Number five, he had all the cards in a sense of like, if she leaves him, who the fuck is she gonna replace Joseph with? Right? There's nobody who has the same status, glory, and integrity, and who has all the cards in every metric like the way he does. She will be the most frowned upon person in society if she leaves him. She'll be the biggest outcast. Because if she will do that, if she's capable of doing something stupid to Joseph, she's capable of doing something stupid to someone else. And everybody knows this. Because Joseph had every single card. Right? That's why his marriage was successful. Look at King Xerxes, for instance. When Vashti, like he's a person of power. He's a person that's a king, right? When Vashti, he told her, come to my party, get over here, right? And she was like, she was having the shitty, I'm an independent, bad bitch, boss, mentality like these dumbass feminists have today. And Xerxes was like, fuck this shit, I'm not tolerating this, get the fuck out. And then he banished her from the country. He banished her from the city, right? Same thing. And now when Esther came, she was like, he had all the cards, so if she did anything stupid, she would have the same fate. She could even get killed. So she behaved better. Because most women, when they have leverage over you, I promise you they're going to abuse it. There is no bigger power abuser than a woman. Alright? In this world. Most of the time. They're the most power abusive people ever. Alright? Kanye deleted all of Kim Kardashian's porn videos and she still left him. Now she's a billionaire. They don't give a fuck. Alright? Make sure, number one, I say don't get, I don't want that kind of relationship in the first place. I think it's toxic as fuck. But, that's all you have. Or, don't get married at all. And just wait until women get replaced by robots that can make children. That will, that will obey you and, that will do their part and that have professionalism. Plus, they'll probably be in better shape than most women in America anyways, because 70% of them are fat fucks, so. But anyways, it's that, those three are the only options that you have. Because if you go to a relationship wholeheartedly now, I promise you 9 times out of 10 you're gonna regret it. I mean, if you get lucky, good for you, but 9 times out of 10 you're gonna regret it. Because look, even people who are happily married, they're red pilled. All right, they like they're they don't like most women. In a sense of like they say I just got lucky. Most of them, unless you're like a fucking Democrat. You know what I mean? But for the most part, unfortunately, that's how they are. Most men don't think very highly of women anymore. Actually, as a matter of fact, statistically, 63% of people between the ages of 18 to 30 that are men are single by choice. And I am one of those people because so many women ruined my innocence. I had to learn all of these things the hard way. I thought to myself, don't talk about them like this. All right, it's not a gender issue. It's just a person issue. All right, you'll find someone who's as good as you. But the thing is, like, it's paternal, man. It's paternal. Like, I used to think it was just a me thing. You know, I didn't get lucky. You know, if I keep searching, eventually I'll find the one. But then when I watched like YouTube videos of people like Darius M, and when I gave a woman a second chance, and when I watched people like Darius and like Myron, I realized it was a paternal thing. You know what I mean? It was a paternal thing. I've seen horror, like those people, they tell me horror stories. My friends tell me horror stories. And then I was like, you know, fuck this shit, I've had enough. I have to tell people about this. Like, I have to save my brothers in humanity that are watching and that have experienced bullshit to watch my videos and learn perspectives like I have. You know what I mean? But anyways, as I was saying, so yeah, like when it comes to like a woman, the thing is, when it comes to most men are good people from a relationship perspective. When they love a woman, they love her for real. So they do a lot for her. But women make it seem as if most men are not like that. But they are. They're lying. Alright? Women will tell you, like, I've been with 3 or 4 guys, and then, you know, he did this to me, he did that to me. But they're lying, bro. They hook up with different men all the time, bro. And they exploit them financially all the time, bro. They're foodies, bro. You have any idea how many men have paid for dates and they flaked all the time? The amount of stories that I've heard is absolutely ridiculous, bro. Absolutely ridiculous. But, like, they're not the victims. And stop trying to prove yourself to them. You don't have to, man. You don't have to. You don't have to prove anything. Because even, like, the most selfless and the nicest girl I've ever met in person says, I understand why you think about women, you talk about women the way you do. Even she herself said, I understand. And, you know, at first, when I was, you know, I grew up with this female. I've known her my whole life. And because of her, you know, I had like a delusional expectation of how women are. You know, because she's like the nicest. She was an angel, basically. And because of her, I had a delusional expectation of how women are, generally speaking. You know, if she's like this, I'm sure there's plenty of her, right? Because I had an unrealistic expectation of how women are. But once I, how do I say this? You know, I went to America, I went to the West. Or I went out, or I started like dating people. And not only in America, but, you know, like in Ethiopia too. Like, and, you know, the Philippines too. And Indians too. You know, I realized like most women are garbage as garbage can be. And only 5, and even statistically, they're garbage as garbage can be. Because only 5% of women are virgins on their wedding day. That's when I realized, like, I will never come near a woman unless she comes up to me professionally. I'll do my part, but I will not stay with them for too long. That's number 1. And number 2, I will never move in with a woman after the experience that I had with one of my cousins. Because, like, my cousins, like, most of them, my female cousins, I'm not going to say their names, they're just as bad as the females that I described. They're just as bad. Like, I indirectly talk about them when I talk about them. When I talk about, how I talk about women. Recreational use only. I do not recommend them to get married. And if you, they're single for a reason, alright? Once you get to know them. There's actually one, one cousin that's, like, happily married and sustained. And then once I was with her, like, I realized, like, okay, you're amazing. I get why, you are, happily married and you have 2 kids, or when it comes to her. But everybody else, yeah, you're single for a reason. The more I talk to them, it's just, they're beautiful women, because, genetically, like, a lot of people in my family look good, surprisingly. But then once you get to know them, you're just, So, yeah, that's how most women are like them. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. So I had to learn the hard way. And what happened to me happened. So, um, what was I going to say? I don't want you, my brothers watching, to end up like me and learn the hard way. That's what I'm telling you. Alright? Save yourself headaches. Save yourself the drama. It has happened to you in the past. Everything that I'm saying to you is copy paste of what happened to you in the past. It should be relatable in a spiritual level. So, since it's relatable on a spiritual level, and it's happening to everybody, wake up. Alright? Women are not the end all be all. Alright? Your goals and Jesus are the end all be all. Alright? Women don't love you. Alright? They see you as a validation experiment. And they will do, and the lengths that they're willing to go to get validation from multiple men is disgusting. They will do it. They will do practically anything for it. The same way most men would do almost anything for sex. But the thing is, you should be better than them. You should have self-control. Actually, I'd argue it's because men are willing to do anything for sex. That's the reason why women are so spoiled and they are how they are. And now I'm asking you, withhold that from them. Have self-control. Alright? Once you have self-control, then you realize that female promiscuity is the root to all evil. Yes, I say all evil. Because Hitler himself, his mom, he don't even know who his dad is 100%. He's not even 100% sure that his dad is truly his dad. Remember that. And the Prophet Muhammad himself, he was born way after his dad died. So, and they were doing muta with each other. That's how his parents were, they were doing nikah with each other. That's how his parents had it. And look at how the Prophet Muhammad turned out. The most violent people on earth also, they're raised by single moms, in the sense of look at Mike Tyson, for instance. His mother was a whore, and he was violent back in the day. Dude used to bite off niggas' ear. He bit off Evander Holyfield's ear. He has a lot of SE charges. He breaks people's teeth and he punches people for a living because he's always angry and hateful. Look at Alexander the Great. He became a violent conqueror because his mom killed his dad. Of course, if you were gonna argue, oh, his mom did not kill his dad, yes, she did, because Alexander the Great has a older brother. Remember that his older brother should have been the king, but his older brother was not related to his mom, so she poisoned him so that Alexander the Great could be in power, and he got in power. All right, women, like promiscuous women, are the root to all evil. All right, when a woman is promiscuous, she's hurting her child because people in school are ruthless, and since people in school are ruthless, they're going to bully the kid because his mother is a hoe. That's not good for the father's or the mom's reputation. If his mom is a hoe, I mean, if his daughter is a hoe, right? It's not right. And yeah, exactly. So since like they destroy everything in their path, and because a woman is a hoe, DNA tests now, since women now are more hoes than ever, tests nowadays are more negative than ever, and divorce rates are higher than ever, because women are more hoey than ever, like more promiscuous than ever. So, like, you have to realize this. They are the roots to all evil. The same way the justice system has no mercy for a person who rapes because he's going to rape again. Probably. Because he's probably going to rape again. Because someone who's a rapist does not have self-control. Right? The same way a woman who's a hoe should not be shown any mercy from a relationship perspective. I mean, sure, show her mercy in the sense of like, God has forgiven you, but not from a relationship perspective. Because remember, Jesus said, anyone who marries a divorced woman has committed adultery. Remember that. Yes, he forgave a woman that committed adultery from getting stoned. But at the end of the day, his mother was a virgin. And he said those who marry divorced women have committed adultery. As a matter of fact, Jesus said the greatest prophet in the Bible is John the Baptist. And he died slut-shaming Herodias. Remember this. Alright? God doesn't accept women being promiscuous. Why should you? Plus, they hurt. They're the root to most people being evil, anyways. Because think about it. Most people who are in prison are raised from women who had babies with shit men. You know what I mean? So that's why a woman should maintain a good man's innocence and not go for a stepdad by the time it's too late and she's hit the wall. You know what I mean? Because this is what a lot of women do. They have babies with shit men when they're young, even though you're not supposed to have a baby with a person like that in the first place. That's number one. And then, after they've been ran through by multiple dudes, then as they get older, then they settle with the guy they should have settled with when they were in their 20s. Because she needs help. Remember that. So, and most people who are in prison are raised by single moms. Alright? A woman being a hoe and spreading her legs for the wrong man is the root to all evil. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity. It's the most disgusting thing in the world. Alright? Because remember this. Of course, a man shouldn't stoop to a woman's level and sleep around also. But at least a man who sleeps around, he is not numb and broken to the point that he will destroy everything in his path. Because Ronaldo, He has a high body count, right? And he managed to settle with Georgina eventually. And they're still together, happily. Justin Bieber also used to sleep with hookers back in the day. Now he's happily married. He has a kid. He's settled. But when it comes to and the thing is, when it comes to a man, the difference between a man and a woman has a prime and a decline. A man, the older that he gets, the more his value increases as a man. Because a woman in her 30s that's single has wasted her life. A man that's in his 30s, that's when his value switches over a woman's. Remember this. So, that's why, like, it's not as important. Of course, nobody should be promiscuous. Nobody should stoop to anybody's level. I mean, in that case. But if a man, the difference between promiscuous men and promiscuous women, women can be with one man forever. But the thing is, like, they're promiscuous because they're doing it for validation, and they're ruining a lot of good men's innocence, and they're breaking hearts. That's why they're promiscuous. A man is promiscuous because back when he was a good person, most of the time, a woman ruined his innocence, and then he realized most women are not good people, so he's just like, you're gonna leave anyways, let me just smash and dash before you destroy my life, before I end up like Johnny Depp. That's why Leonardo DiCaprio is red-pilled, and he goes to a different woman every year. It's like, fuck it, you're gonna leave anyway. Let me just replace, like, I'm just gonna replace you with another person, so I don't end up like Johnny Depp. You know what I mean? Because Johnny Depp, he wanted to settle with one person and get married with Amber. And look at what she did to him. She shit on his bed, bro. Women are capable of anything, bro. They're so chaotic, bro. So my point is, if I'm like a man's like a man with a, let's just say, no, a woman with a high body, like with a high body count that sleeps around, she could have settled and stayed with one man by the time she was 16 years old. I promise you that. But she just doesn't want to. She's like, fuck it, I don't want to. But a man, he thinks to himself, all right, you're probably gonna leave, so I'm just gonna sleep around. Because the thing is, these like promiscuous men, like let's just say Myron and Chris Brown. Like Myron, he's a loyal guy to Fresh and consistent with Fresh because Fresh has been with him since day one, right? So he's like, Fresh is a day one friend. I will never turn on him. That's why he's loyal to him. But when it comes to women, he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna cheat. You're probably gonna leave anyways. Screw, like I don't want to be loyal, right? That's what he says, right? I mean, I don't blame him for thinking that way, but I don't think you should stoop to a woman's level. Look at okay. Also, how about Chris Brown? Chris Brown, you know, like he sleeps around. He has 3 different baby mamas, and he beats women and shit, right? He beats and cheats. But the thing is, when it comes to his mom, he makes her his number one priority. He pays her, is kind to her, and he loves her dearly. So the way he treats his mom shows that he can actually be loyal if he wanted to. He just doesn't want to because of how women are. And let's be honest, most women are difficult people. Difficult, evil, sadistic people. So he's just like, I'm not gonna get too attached. There's no point. He doesn't want to risk it. Because 95% of them are evil. And if a plane had a 95% chance of crashing and a 5% chance of landing, you wouldn't go to it, right? And getting laid feels good. Having sex feels good. So it's like, whatever, man. I'm just gonna smash for the experience purposes because it feels good. That's what he's doing. That's the difference between a man that's promiscuous and a woman that's promiscuous. A woman that's promiscuous is ruining a man's innocence, heartbreaking good men's hearts. But a man that's promiscuous is like, you're gonna leave. Most of you are terrible people. I can't tell the difference between sheep and the sheep in wolf's clothing. So let me just smash and dash. That's the difference. Of course, both of them are not good, because the man is stooping to the woman's level, and the woman is evil to the point that she's creating villains. So, yeah, that is like my perspective on it. But but I say in order to avoid drama like this, me as a person with Christian values, the reason why Myron thinks how he thinks, he's thinking of it from a secular worldview. Same thing with Chris Brown. If I had a secular worldview, I would probably be just like them as well. Smash and dash, move on to the next. But the thing is, I'm not gonna stoop to a woman's level because I have Christian values. You know what I mean? So it's better to be single and be like Paul. You know what I mean? So be like Paul. Even, okay, this is not just statistically. Like, look at biblically too. Like, men who prioritize women more than anything are the people who are the most fucked over in the Bible. The stupidest people in the Bible are people who make women their first priority. Like, look at Samson. Samson is debatably the dumbest person in the Bible, if not ever. But why is that? Because he trusted a woman. Alright? He did not learn from his first mistake. He thought to himself, just because, the last woman like betrayed me, doesn't necessarily mean that this one will. That mindset is dangerous. Because, yes, even though not everybody's the same, if a plane had a 95% chance of crashing and a 5% chance of landing, you wouldn't go to it, right? 95% of women are terrible people. So, it's not worth finding out. Like, I know dudes who are 40 years old pursuing a female. And, like, they either, like, a lot of them, they either ended up in a divorce court, or they ended up, let's say, how do I say this, falsely accused, and they can't own weapons. So to avoid drama like this, you have to avoid them as much as possible. So I think it's safer to like just be single in that aspect. Because look, man, like, if you genuinely want loyalty and consistency, get a dog, man. Women are not something you can calculate. You just gotta get lucky. And most of them are terrible people. Let them be a headache. Either let them be a headache for another man that won't listen to me and is a simp. Or, and also, if you want, companionship, like, just wait until Elon Musk makes the robots that can make children, and then have children with those and settle with those. The robots are probably going to be in better shape than the 70% of women in America anyway. 70% of women in America are obese anyway, so yeah. Like, just stay single, right? If you're the type of person that's like, okay, not everybody's the same. If this one does me wrong, doesn't mean the next one will. You will probably, not always, 9 times out of 10, hop from person to person to person to person. And eventually somebody's gonna do you so wrong they might cripple you. Women are very dangerous. It's like playing with a cobra's head. They're capable of anything. Alright? So, save yourself from them if you want to be happy. I'm doing these videos for you. Alright? And I don't want you to go to jail because of a woman. I don't want you to get essay or abuse charge because of a woman. I don't want you to commit suicide because of a woman. I don't want you to go through any headache because of a woman. Because women are the most destructive creatures on the planet. So it's but because remember, I promise you, you're better off without her. You're better off without not chasing women. All right. Focus on. Let's be honest. I'm sure most of you have a hobby. You have a stable life. In a sense of without the if there is no female causing drama in your life, I'm sure a lot of you are just living normal lives. You go to work. You're working hard. You're doing okay in life. You have hobbies. You know what I mean? But if you if you're with the wrong woman, which most women are, she will destroy all of that. All right, she will make your life hell. All right. When I say hell, I mean you will wish you got a vasectomy. Especially if you get her pregnant. Like, you will be a slave to her. Like, you wouldn't volunteer to be a slave in the Middle Passage, right? But you practically are gonna be that if you get these modern women pregnant. So just stay single, man. Just wait until the robots come, or just remain single for the rest of your life, man. You don't need to have a kid, man. If you want a kid, either adopt or let the world repopulate on its own. Alright? Because at least you know the kid, if you do your part, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna do its part. It will be a good kid. Especially because it needs you and it will appreciate you. But these women, they're not like that. They're not that easy, alright? They're a headache. So you know what they say, happy wife, happy life, right? That's a myth. Reality is, happy life, have no wife. All right. Unless, of course, you want to buy her $1,000 wedding ring and she's gonna cheat anyway, and because it happens all the time. Unless you want to pay for a date and she leaves anyway, it happens all the time. Yeah, that's also another thing. Don't pursue a woman. Your wallet will thank you later. I've spent thousands of dollars on women in the past. Now, I rarely, if not ever, spend money. I only spend it on useful shit that I need. Because there is no bigger scammer in this world than a woman. Anyways, thank you for listening. Have a great day. Alright? I know you have, unless you're a person, if you're somebody who has never experienced being in a relationship, which I'm sure most of you have by the time you were 15 years old. But the thing is, if you haven't, if you're a kid, experiment and then come back and be like, damn, you're right. But if you're somebody who has experienced all this bullshit in the past and you're still pursuing women, you're psychotic. You're psychotic, you're retarded, and men like you are the reason why women are so spoiled. Alright? Stop it. Have some self-respect. Have a great day. God bless.